always appreciated. So the move came as we were talking about, but only that it was on the lower side. 70 points lower is what the Nifty is going to go home with. Banks end higher. The Nifty Bank, PSU banks, of course, outsized performance once again. It's just sort of so far we've had 2 trading sessions this week, and the PSU bank index is already up over 7%. So that kind of tells you what happened. Very kind of scattered type of performance. So on the Nifty, you had Adani Ports, which did very well, Coal India, which did well, and ITC, which stood out as well. Those are the 3-odd 2% kind of gainers. On the lower side, Hindalco lost out, Power Grid was down, Divis Laboratories was down sharply, and there was Tech Mahindra, which lost out as well. And I think, outside of the Nifty, the amount of outsized moves, both higher and lower, I think was the real story, especially some of these earnings-related moves, which we saw and we've been tracking. Rima.
Absolutely, and even names where the earnings prima facie didn't look very bad. Take a look at Barbecue Nation. It came out with numbers today. There was a revenue growth of 30%. Margins were maintained. In fact, went up 10 basis points. There was a profit of 7 crore versus about 3 crore. But the stock ended down close to about 7%. So despite seemingly pretty decent numbers. But let me quickly run you through some of the big earnings reaction. On the way down, MRF down 9%. Jubilant FoodWorks, high valuations weighing. Otherwise, numbers in line. Godrej Properties sulked 7.5%. You had weakness coming through for Birla Corp, Ramco Cement. These were a few names under pressure. Orient Cement too, reporting numbers. Stock was down close to about 4%. Keep your eye on that. On the gaining side, you had PI Industry. That was clearly the star today. Very large volumes. SIAC, Bosch on the auto side, auto ancillary side, and BLS, a play on pent-up travel demand. They provide the outsourcing visa services. BLS, good numbers, and their 1:1 bonus issue, fueling up the stock in trade, Nigel.
Well, that's right. A few more gainers, Rima. I'll just put up for our viewers on the screen. You have KPI Green. The stock was up more than 10%. You had Sarvodaya SFB. We don't talk about the stock very often. It was up close to around 9% odd. Rushil Decor as well. That's another name that came on my list. That as well was up 10%. Remember, these are stocks that we're talking about that were up, and they were up on very, very large volumes. Igarashi Motors as well, I think, is reacting to its number. Stock up close to around 8%. Max Life was a stock that did pretty well. That one as well did end with solid gains. So though, in fact, the headline index was under pressure, you had select mid-cap names as well that were lower, but there were quite a few gainers. Case in point being a Polycap, Poly Medicare actually, beg your pardon, came out with a good set of numbers. Management is sounding very optimistic about things improving from year on, particularly on the margin aspect. And Poly Medicare, well, that stock as well was flying away in trade today. So to sum things down, well, we end closer to around that 18,100 odd mark, though because of averaging, I see us closing at around 18,150 odd. At the start, you would have thought we would have ended closer to around 18,300. However, from the highs of the day, both on the Nifty Bank, we did come off the day's top. Well,